What's up, everyone? Chicano Prophet here, and I'm here to talk about that shameful performance from Mikey Garcia. Now, I didn't make a pre-fight video for this because I thought to myself, well, everybody knows what's going to happen, and if my 4 subscribers want to be held in suspense, I won't say anything. Because we all know that if I did make a prediction, that would have been money in the bank. Because we all know when I make a prediction, I'm right on. Now, I realize that I did get my first prediction wrong, Wilder Fury. But everyone knows the first one don't count. And who picks a draw anyways? That's lame. But I'm here to talk about Mikey Garcia. Now, I didn't order the fight personally. Went over to my cousins. He said, hey, come on over. I got some mamacitas and some tequila. It's going to be a good time, right? And that's all I needed to hear. I went over there. And he wasn't lying. Those girls were looking good. Other curves were just like, oh, it was going on. Like they were in their primes. Like right before they get the beer gut. That's a short window, baby. You got to appreciate that while you can. And I was over there having a good time, eating, talking, and we're talking boxing, and my cousin goes, man, yeah, I really like the welterweight division, and I really like it when the Mexican fighter and the black fighter clash at that division. Classic matchup. And you know what? I did agree with him that it is a classic matchup, but I tried to explain to my cousin that that's not what we're about to watch. And he was confused, and I tried to explain it to him. I was going to. But then Mikey Garcia started to come out, and he had his little ranchero cowboy hat on, or whatever the hell that thing was. He's got his mariachis, and he's doing his little dance. And my cousin goes, you see that right there? Wait, is that Mexican enough for you? And I was like, no. You see that bass player? Not fat enough. My cousin's like, man, you stupid. And, well, we watched the fight, and, well, you know what happened, right? Mikey got his ass beat from pillar to post. And that's not really a surprising result. I mean, we saw the odds. Everybody kind of knew that it was a long shot, but, we were kind of rooting for the Mexican underdog, and I realize that all the Mexicans are slightly disappointed. And I know why. And it's the same reason that I'm pissed off at the narrative that's going on right now. Now, I think that we got sold a false bill of goods with Mikey Garcia. Like, I think that the Mexicans wanted to embrace him, and I think he played it up just a little bit, but not all the way. You know what I mean? He was kind of like, his toe was in the water as far as that goes. Like, he was kind of like at the border. You know what I mean? Like, he had the mariachis, but he didn't do the anthem, right? Didn't talk Spanish afterwards. He's got his brother who's training him, and he's kind of like more like a new age coach, when when Mikey's getting his ass beat. Robert's like, okay, breathe before I give you advice. It's cool. You want to go another round, Mikey? But his dad's old school. His dad trained people like Vargas, and he's sitting there yelling at his son to do something, right? Kind of reminded me of like when Chavez used to get advice from his corner when he was losing. They would say shit to him like, Julio, do it for your family, Julio, for your country, Julio, right? And it's always 50-50 with Mikey. And I'm realizing why they had to do that, right? Because he doesn't have ganas. He won't go out on his shield. And I think they knew that ahead of time. You can't sit there and have all the pageantry and then run around like a little bitch and not commit, right? And you can't go on pay-per-view and sell us a false bill of goods. I knew that there was a real problem when we watched the Mikey Garcia-Earl Spence face-off. Because they were sitting there talking to each other about who had better this, who had better that. And Earl Spence said something along the lines of, well, if all else fails, I've got grit. And I liked that when I heard it. I was like, all right. And I was waiting to hear what Mikey had to say. And he was just like, well, I'm just a little bit better at footwork, a little bit better at foot speed, a little bit better at hand speed. Shut the fuck up, Mikey. You weren't better at anything as far as I could tell. And you weren't willing to commit. And that upsets me. And the narrative is really pissing me off too. People like Richard Schaefer are like, oh, Mikey's got nothing to be ashamed of. He went 12 rounds. He's a warrior. I'm like, okay. I mean, who are you talking to? Are these like new age people that have never seen boxing before? Never seen like Mexican warriors fight before? Like, he does have something to be ashamed of. Didn't you promote Marquez before you sold out Golden Boy? Like, you should know. You should know better. I mean, this is just a narrative that's like for the PBC. If Mikey Garcia wants to continue to be like, the token PBC Mexican fighter, I mean, good for him. I mean, I'm not going to judge him. I'm sure he's getting paid all right, but I don't think his best interests are being looked after, or maybe they kind of know what he is, so they're just managing his career, picking and choosing his way up. I mean, he wasn't that special to begin with, if we're being honest, right? And I don't like what he's saying now. He's saying things like, oh, I'm going to maybe stay at 147, 140. There's some lesser champions that I can fight. I'm like, oh, you're going to start cherry picking now too. All right. You know what? Go ahead. Like, I've already written you off, and the Mexican fan base is going to write you off too, because you might get a pass from some people at first, but we're all getting warmed up to it. And before anybody comes to this video and says like, oh, well, you can't criticize Mikey Garcia for picking and choosing fighters when Canelo went up to 168 and did the same thing. You know what? I just did. Canelo gets a pass because he's earned it the hard way. I think what I'm going to do is come up with some type of like Mexican fighter like list. I'm going to call it like the Club Con Ganas or some shit like that, where we can have a list and talk about which Mexican fighters are carrying on the proud Mexican tradition of what goes on in boxing. And Mikey, you ain't invited.